Good evening and thank you for tuning in to Triad News. I'm Ford Martin.
And I'm Ryan McLaughlin. Coming up, we have a live report on the cost of HB2 in Greensboro.
And what HB2 means to local businesses. But first, let's check in with our weather person, Jackie Shee, to see what's in store for the weather this week. Jackie?
Hello everyone, welcome to Triad News. This is Jackie. Sunshines, storms, warm winds. Those are sure signs of spring. Yes, the spring is coming. Finally, we made it. Yes! But, as you can see on the map behind me, there is a storm in the Midwest America heading our way. So it's going to hit North Carolina in like about 1 to 2 days. I'm going to come up with more information in the later 7 days forecast. Ford, Ryan, back to you.
Thank you, Jackie. The Tar Heels of North Carolina are the NCAA National Basketball Champions. The Heels beat Gonzaga 71-65 on some last-minute heroics and desperate plays.
Fans from all over the country watched on CBS Sports, and it scored a 14.5 rating for the game, which translates into a 15.4 million viewers who watched it.
That's up 21% over last year's Tar Heel loss to Villanova on the Turner Broadcasting Networks.
Local fans showed up in big numbers, 33.8 rating in Raleigh and 31.7 rating in High Point, Greensboro.
North Carolina erased memories of last year's buzzer-beater loss with a hard-fought win over the Zags from the Pacific Northwest.
The party just beginning in Chapel Hill. The welcome home party for the team is going on right now at the Dean Smith Center on campus of UNC. But the party is just beginning in Chapel Hill.
At the game-ending buzzer, fans poured out onto Franklin Street where the celebration got underway for real.
The Tar Heels' road to redemption was a rocky one at times, but fans, well, they can care less about that right now.
Wall to wall, students and loyal North Carolina followers brought Franklin Street to a standstill.
Police were ready, and the fans kept a careful watch on the crowd.
Unlike other universities across the nation, the Tar Heel fans celebrated with great passion but caused little trouble.
The crowd was so large at times, people were just picked up and carried along the flow of fans down the street. It was a big win for North Carolina. We'll be interested to see how many students make it to class this week, including the professors. I mentioned wearing a light blue tie today myself. Lost a bet. I was going for Gonzaga, so I had to wear my light blue UNC tie today.
Yeah, I know I'd need a few days to take in this win because, wow, what a game.
Yeah, what a game.
But some great times in Chapel Hill this week. It's not just a win for one basketball team. The past few weeks, it was obvious how big and important sports tournaments are nationally and locally.
North Carolina is missing on many of those events and the money they bring to the local communities of the Tar Heel State.
We're now going to toss it over to Triad News reporter Sydney Chevron, who has the inside story on the HB2 and how it is affecting Greensboro. Sydney?
This is Sydney Chevron outside live at the Greensboro Coliseum, where there's a whole lot surrounding the new HB2 repeal. Now that bill started last March, over a year ago, and the NCAA pulled out of Greensboro altogether until they changed this. And they gave them until last Thursday to change it. And last Thursday, they did. It passed through the Senate and the House, and Governor Cooper signed it around 4:45 p.m. last Thursday. And now, businesses everywhere, this could be great for them. As you can see behind me, we have Stamey's Barbecue, and right down the street is a brewery. Now, these are right near the Greensboro Coliseum, which means after games, people are flocking to those restaurants. So, with this new HB2 change, people will be coming back to the Greensboro Coliseum because there will actually be basketball at the Greensboro Coliseum. So that's going to do great things for this business and for the economy in general in Greensboro. But we'll have to see everything that happens with this HB2 change because the ACLU and many LGBTQ plus groups are not super happy with it because they said that the state did it in favor of basketball and money and not in favor of their human rights. Now, this is definitely a developing story, and I will surely keep everyone updated. Once again, this is Sydney Chevron for Triad News. Back to you in the studio.
With basketball returning, so are the fans, and they need to be fed. Something these businesses will definitely take advantage of. I'll keep everyone updated on this developing story. So thank you, Cindy. HPU is not just an issue for North Carolina alone.
No, people from all over the country have spoken out about the bathroom bill.
The latest member of the Kennedy clan in Congress is urging the NCAA to continue steering championship sporting events away from North Carolina over the refusal of politicians to allow that local laws that protect LGBT residents from discrimination.
United States Representative Joseph P. Kennedy III of Massachusetts said Monday he's speaking up because he says last week's law repealing House Bill 2 still violates civil rights for transgender people.
He wrote the NCAA last week, urging the college sports organization to keep boycotting North Carolina. The association this week is expected to announce the championship sites for 2018 through 2022.
Kennedy is an LGBT rights advocate whose college roommate at Stanford was Jason Collins, the first openly gay NBA player.
Kennedy is the grandson of the late Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy.
A famous celebrity has also spoken out about the repeal of HB 2 bill. Clay Aiken, former American Idol contestant, voiced his support for the repeal over Twitter this past weekend, stating, "Never underestimate the power of college basketball and the state of North Carolina. Hashtag HB2, hashtag HB2 repeal."
Aiken's a native of Raleigh, North Carolina, and was a 2014 Democratic nominee in the state's 2nd Congressional District election.
But how is HB2 going to affect sports in North Carolina?
Now we're going to toss it to our Tri-News reporter, Courtney Leopold, who's at the Greensboro Coliseum with more on HB2. Courtney?
The sun is shining here in the Tar Heel State. UNC Chapel Hill won last night against Gonzaga 71-65, but that is not the story here at the Greensboro Coliseum today. The NCAA has agreed to work with the state of North Carolina following passing the HB2 change last Thursday. This change is huge for the NCAA because they are now coming back to North Carolina. If you remember last March, they pulled out their tournament games here at the Greensboro Coliseum, the venue where the most games have ever occurred. They went down to Greenville, South Carolina, of course, but what really hurts the whole situation is that UNC just won. So now the NCAA is going to work with the state of North Carolina with the new changes. They're going to look at the environment. They're going to see if the changes on human rights have made a difference. And will the viewers want to come back to the state of North Carolina? All these questions are still up in the air, but it's important to remember that this is a huge revenue for North Carolina. They want the NCAA here. Everybody wants the NCAA here. So this is a big, big situation. We'll have to see what happens in the coming days. But like I said, this is huge. The NCAA has games up until 2022. So we will see what happens in the coming days. And again, from Greensboro Coliseum, this has been Courtney Leopold. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Courtney. How the big national tournaments are over, HB2 will not go away, but will be debated a little more quietly.
There are still a lot of sports events that are on the fence about coming to North Carolina, professional and college. Last month, a Burlington woman was arrested for drug trafficking heroin in her 4-year-old son's pocket.
Alamance County deputies conducted a traffic stop on North Main Street. During the stop, deputies searched 23-year-old Megan Ann Wilson's vehicle and discovered a plastic bag containing heroin.
Wilson made a phone call while in the Alamance County Jail and admitted she hid the drug in her son's clothes.
Wilson was charged with trafficking heroin, possession of drug paraphernalia, and misdemeanor child abuse.
3 additional arrests have been made in the connection with the death of a 74-year-old woman who was killed on March 21st.
19-year-old Daquan Miller, 21-year-old Malik Thomas, and 17-year-old Jadisik Bryant were charged with murder in connection with the death of the 74-year-old grandmother, Hosea Lindsay, who was killed in a drive-by shooting outside her home.
There have been 7 total arrests in connection with the murder, including a 14-year-old juvenile.
Coming up, a look at a unique school play.
And the scary world of online dating. We'll be right back after the break.
You are. Shouldn't you be studying for your test tomorrow?
Maybe.
You should. I'd put your phone away.
All right. Yeah, it's a lot more interesting that way.
Great.
Ma.
Dear.
In your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who once took care of you.
Welcome back to Triad News. I'm Ford Martin.
And I'm Ryan McLaughlin. The famous comedian Steve Martin's play The Underpants is coming to High Point University.
Comedian Steve Martin made his mark as one of these insane groups on NBC's Saturday Night Live. Musician, movie star, and one wild and crazy playwright.
I'm here outside the Empty Space Theater, where the cast of The Underpants is gearing up for their Tech Week. It's called The Underpants, and it's adapted by none other than Steve Martin. Reporter Norm MacDonald here, and I'm here with Ed Simpson,
Underpants!
who is directing the play Underpants. Ed, how long have you been working on the show?
Well, it's been a favorite of mine for about the last 2 or 3 years since I first read it. I'm a sort of big Steve Martin fan, so I've been wanting to direct it for a while. Really started working on it in earnest, I guess. We had auditions, in November. I'd done some work on it for a few, off and on for a week or so before we had the auditions, just to sort of prepare for that. And so pretty much since that time, working on it fairly steadily, working with our designers, we sort of had lots of meetings and coming up with a concept and leading towards the designs and all that type of stuff.
I'm here with Alec Yamartino, who plays Cohen in Underpants. Alec, how have you been working? And tell us, are you ready for Thursday?
This whole process has been a whole lot of fun. Getting to work, with Ed Simpson has been great. He gives you a lot of good feedback, and that's sort of the way that you you develop as an actor, as a character, and just get better throughout the whole process.
Underpants will run April 6th through the 8th, and then again April 10th through the 12th in the Empty Space Theater in the Slane Center at High Point University.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a great show to end the season. Looking for, I never know, I might turn up and go watch it.
Absolutely, I can't wait to see it. Might have to pay a visit.
Fans of Target will be excited to hear that the High Point Target is getting a whole new look with the brand new amenities.
It's about time. Some have said that it looked like the Target was stuck in the early 2000s, but now it's looking more and more modern each day. The exterior got a new, fresh coat of paint, and everything inside is being shifted around.
And one of the most exciting additions is that will now be a Starbucks inside for customers to enjoy. The stores remain open during all the renovations.
A new study has found that those who have happy relationships live longer.
And what a better way to find a date than online. In studio with us is Tri News reporter Graylin Glover. Graylin?
Thank you, Ford and Ryan. Being in a happy relationship is great, but no matter what age you are, asking someone out on a date is an absolute killer. That moment of will they say yes is actually hard, but there are easier ways to find that special someone, and the internet is here for the rescue.
Online dating has become increasingly popular throughout the years. Today, I sat down with a relationship psychologist to get her view on the ever-growing online dating world.
My name is Sadie Leader-Elder, and I have a PhD in personality and social psychology, and here at HPU, I'm an assistant professor of psychology.
Online dating, what do you think of online dating in today's world?
It is a growing avenue that allows people to meet when proximity is an issue. For people who do it cautiously, I think it's a really important avenue, particularly once you pass that, say, 25-year-old range. Useful, and at this point it turns out to be a successful way to bring people into connection with each other.
From the first time online dating came out and from now, how do you think that has changed?
I think that in some ways people have gotten much more savvy and they're using online dating more appropriately. There's been a lot of back and forth about the proprietary matching algorithms that some websites use, and the data's mixed. There's something to be said about using similarity as opposed to just physical attractiveness in meeting the partners. The one thing that has been shown, and it's not proof, but it's psychological studies, so we're talking about the study is believable and likely not due to random chance, is that couples who have met online tend to report slightly more relationship stability and satisfaction than couples who have met face-to-face. Now again, that's just the one study, but for all the refuting that they've done about this matching algorithm or this matching algorithm, no one's refuted that one, and that one's been holding tight for a couple of years now. So I'll put it out there that while a lot of people are hesitant and skeptical, The data tends to show that if we can be cautiously optimistic in the way that we approach this and use it as a real tool, relationship dynamics for partners who meet online are very similar, if not even slightly more positive than they would be for people who meet face to face. Once you meet someone, whether it's at church or a sporting event or a bar or online, generally the relationships manifest in very similar ways. In fact, they may even be more satisfying because you've met someone that has these core similarities and who is really looking.
Online dating may be easier, but you also have to be very careful. Many dating services recommend your first date be in a very public place and maybe even have a few friends nearby at another table to be your lookouts. Ryan, Ford.
Thank you, Graylin. Dating is never easy, but that first phone call can be ever so stressful.
Sure is. Thank you, Graylin. It's always very nerve-wracking the first time you meet somebody. Coming up, an inside look at domestic violence walk.
And Triad Sports is next.
Okay, so temperature hits 80 today, and it is really hot. You can see people walking on campus in shorts and playing frisbees. We do enjoy this beautiful weather very much. The storm attacked us yesterday. It's moving southeast, and I hope everyone is not going to suffer from it. And there's another storm coming our way. And behind that storm is a low-pressure system. So we're going to expect a temperature drop till the end of this week. And starting from Sunday, the temperature is back again. I'll come back with more information after the break.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom. It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
It's harder whenever there's a bigger group. Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against the wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
Welcome back to Triad News. I'm Ford Martin.
And I'm Ryan McLaughlin.
We had a nice spring day today. 75 degrees, sunny, sunglasses, shorts, flip-flops. We had about everything today. Be people by the pool. It's a good day.
Can't complain. I mean, if you haven't already, go get yourself a tan. Sun felt great. Just felt good to be outside.
Well, let's throw it over to our weather person, Jackie Shee, to get a closer look at what is in store for this weather this week. Jackie, what do we have?
Hey guys, welcome back to Triad News. This is Jackie Shee. The weather this week is going to be predictable. By predictable, I mean it's going to be exactly what I say. But if there is an exception, please don't blame on me, blame on the democracy. Okay, so let's look at the national temperature map. As you can see, the most east coast and south is going to be really hot in clear skies. And the low pressure system there, you can see the temperature is like about 40s, 50s. And there is the dropping temperature in 2 or 3 days. And now let's look at the state map. So as you can see, there are clear skies all over North Carolina. So it is really a great idea to travel to the East Coast, to the beach, to enjoy your weekend. At last, let's look at the 7 days forecast. So we hit like about 80s today, and then starting from tomorrow, it's going to gradually drop down to lower 60s. And then starting from Sunday, it's going to rest back again to like about 70s. That's all. Ford, Ryan, back to you.
Thanks, Jackie. Today was great, but I can't wait for the weather to stay warm.
Yeah, well, I noticed it was 30 degrees, and you have 80 degrees North Carolina weather. It can't seem to make up its mind if it wants to stay winter or if it wants to stay summer.
Yeah, I'm looking forward for it to stay warm now.
The walk was called A Walk a Mile in Her Shoes and took place at High Point University.
Over 100 students participated in the mile walk that went all around the campus to support a great cause, those affected by domestic violence.
Walkers wanted those who are victims to know that they are not alone and help is there.
The walk to raise awareness for what it is like to be the victim and where to turn for help.
I'm Jerry True, I'm the Director of Title IX on HPU. You know, some key terms that we like to remind people of is that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men, so it goes both ways, will become victims of domestic sexual violence in their lifetime. Violence, domestic violence, stalking on the campus. As we're leading into Sex Assault Awareness Month, that ties in with domestic violence a lot, so we've partnered with Alpha Chi Omega. We're going to do a walk a mile. They're also selling candles to remember survivors. We ensure the safety of our students and make sure we take care and provide the proper resources to all survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence.
Alpha Chi Omega and Jerry True helped a philanthropy event to support those affected by domestic violence.
Walk a Mile in Her Shoes is a nationwide growing event to take domestic violence out of the darkness and into the light of community awareness.
Over 100 students walked the mile, and many more walked in other communities nationwide.
Coming up, a live look into the women's lacrosse game,
as well as a live look at the men's baseball game. We'll be right back after the break.
In your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who once took care of you.
Claire, you're on your phone a lot.
No, I'm not.
You are. Shouldn't you be studying for your test tomorrow?
Maybe.
You should. I'd put your phone away.
All right. Yeah, it's a lot more interesting that way.
Great.
Welcome back to Tri News. I'm Ford Martin.
And I'm Ryan McLaughlin. The UNC Tar Heels are now the national champions.
And Dallas Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo has moved from the field to the CBS Sports announcer's booth.
Lots going on in sports right now.
Yeah, now they're replacing Phil Simms. They have not reported on where Phil Simms will go. They will report that at a later date. But joining us in studio is Tri News reporter Mike Murray. How's the High Points teams looking, Mike?
Thanks, Ryan. Ford. Well, this past weekend, the men's lacrosse team took their 5th loss in its last 6 games. The 12-11 overtime loss to Mercer University has the Panthers off to an 0-2 start in Southern Conference play. Sophomore Tim Troutner ended the game with 15 saves, but it wasn't enough to hold back Mercer, who scored 5 goals in the 4th quarter to force OT. The Panthers are looking to bounce back as they continue conference play this Saturday with a road game against Bellarmine at 1 p.m. The HPU women's lacrosse team opened their conference play last weekend with a commanding 20-1 victory over Gardner-Webb. The Panthers scored the first 11 goals of the game. Sophomores Emery Gang and Maggie Williams combined for 7 goals. The High Point women's team is now 7-3 overall and 1-0 in conference play. The Panthers will next face off against Winthrop at Burt Stadium tomorrow at 3 p.m. This past weekend, the Panthers played a home series against Gardner-Webb and won 2 out of the 3 games with the help of Big South Player of the Week, Austin Zente. Zente hit .389 with 3 home runs and 11 RBI for the week. The High Point University baseball team is now 13-14 overall in the season. Tonight, the Panthers are heading to Greensboro to face North Carolina A&T. Meanwhile, the game against UNCW scheduled for tomorrow night has been canceled due to weather. The Panthers are looking forward to this weekend as they host a 3-game series against Campbell starting Friday night. High Point University Track and Field hosted a 9th annual Vert class meet this past weekend at Vert Stadium. It is the largest sporting event hosted on campus with over 1,500 athletes and 47 schools. Sophomore Keaton Case stole the show for HPU, winning the 800 meters and the 1,500 meters, setting a Vert class record in the latter. Panthers Track and Field will next be participating in the Liberty Collegiate Invitational this Friday and Saturday in Lynchburg, Virginia. The HPU men's golf team is currently competing in the East Carolina Collegiate Tournament. Led by freshman R.J. Bartolomucci, the Panthers are in 9th overall and 4 strokes out of the top 5 after 2 rounds of play. The matches conclude today at Brook Valley Country Club. HPU will finish its season at the Big South Championships on April 21st to the 23rd. The High Point women's golf team competed at the Mimosa Hills Intercollegiate in Morganton, North Carolina this past weekend. The Panthers finished 8th with a 2-round total of 625. Freshman Samantha Vaudry led High Point with a 2-round total of 153, finishing 17th overall. Next up for the Panthers is the Big South Championship, which will be their last tournament of the season. The championship will be held at the Patriot Golf Club in 96, South Carolina, April 17th through 19th. That's all for sports for now. Ryan, Ford.
All right, well, thank you, Mike. When we look back, a unique look at a flavor of beer.
In Music Without Instruments, we'll be right back after the break.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Welcome back to Tri News. I'm Ford Martin.
And I'm Ryan McLaughlin.
Have you ever heard of a cookie-flavored beer, Ryan?
You know, I actually haven't, but I can't say that I wouldn't be interested in trying one.
Well, beer has been around for almost as long as humans have. In that time, people have been trying different recipes and flavors. And one local brewery has come up with a beer that not only has a unique taste, but lots of history as well.
This 4-foot-tall wooden barrel filled with yeast, water, grains, and hops is where beer is made. But not just any beer, it's full of tradition and tastes like a cookie.
The Moravian culture is very ingrained here, and obviously love feasts at Christmas and then Moravian cookies. We all love Moravian cookies, so we said, why don't we try to make a beer that tastes a little bit like a Moravian cookie?
A tradition that opened their doors 12 years ago, Foothills Brewing pays great attention to the ingredients such as cinnamon, ginger, and cardamom, keeping the tradition alive through taste.
So we took all the spices, the ginger and the cardamom and the cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice and all that that's in a Moravian spice cookie, and portioned it into a batch of People's Porter, and we made Moravian Porter.
Of their 28 beers on tap, the People's Porter is the most popular. Ray Goodrich explains how it has flown off the shelves since first brewed.
That's the thing about craft beer now, is you want a lot of variety. People are always looking for something new and something different, and if they can have that in a beer that they already like People's Porter, that's usually a good thing. That's a win-win for everybody.
Brewed only once a year, the People's Porter is a tradition in a bottle, which makes history a bit more satisfying.
It's been really neat for us to have a beer that is that we brew during the holidays that's so iconic to the traditions of our hometown in Winston-Salem.
Now that's a flavor I'm going to have to try sometime.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. Just a reminder not to drink and drive. Even a cookie beer can be a problem if you eat behind the wheel. Samsung unveiled its latest smartphone on Wednesday, the Galaxy S8.
The sleek phone's standout features are a screen that goes nearly to the edges of the device and a virtual assistant named Bixby.
Can this phone lure away iPhone customers, or at least undermine Apple by featuring similar advancements first?
This summer marks the iPhone's 10th anniversary. As it does every year, Apple will likely unveil a new version of the smartphone at a flashy press event.
As the semester races to the end, music fills the air.
Triad News reporter Jasenia Mills is here with the story of a unique concert with only one instrument.
Thank y'all for having me. Practice, practice, practice. If you want it to be right and you want it to sound right and you want to have a lot of fun, you gotta have some practice in there. That's what groups of students are doing here as the semester comes to an end to make their last performance of spring memorable.
It's another day of morning rolls around.
18 college students. They call themselves the Offbeats. You may notice there are no instruments, and that is because they're an a cappella group where they make the music with their voices. For new members of the group, it's an exciting challenge to do this. The group is ever evolving, and some people have been there from 4 to 5 years.
I'm actually really excited for the concert because this is my first time being in an a cappella group and it's something entirely new for me. So to have the opportunity to be able to perform all of our songs, not just 2 or 3, I think it really shows off our whole repertoire as a group.
From the classic Beatles to present day of Mice and Men, members of musical groups always want their music done a certain way. In every music group ever performed, there have been arguments on how to produce the music, and a cappella is no different. Sometimes they just don't agree.
It's more. You have, males and females, so there's like different ideas, different perspectives on how music should be and how our rehearsals should be conducted. And it seems like we're better able to communicate. There's not such a hierarchy of power, and I really like that because it seems like we're all contributing more.
But that certainly doesn't change the spirit of the Offbeats. If there's one thing that all the members can agree on, is sounding the best.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. To have a rest, it was silent in the room because you could feel the power of our voices, how connected we were. And I love that. I felt like we were really a group at that moment.
That was a really great moment.
There is no better feeling than when the group is just right on. The sound, the partnership, the thrill of the moment, a cappella has a unique sound and bond among the group. Lots of fun. Forward and Ryan, back to you guys, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, that'd be a great concert.
Yeah, those groups are pretty impressive. Thanks, Jasenia.
Thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. For Triad News, I'm Ford Martin.
And I'm Ryan McLaughlin. Stay classy, High Point.